He betrayed his family, or did he? Watch the video to find the shocking reason behind the father's choice. The funeral. The scent of lilies filled the small chapel, mixing with the faint trace of baked goods that clung to my clothes. It was fitting, I thought bitterly, that even at Margaret's funeral I smelled like the bakery. She would have smiled at that, a small, wistful smile, and told me to stop fussing. She'd always been the stronger one, the steadier one. And now she was gone. Anna had taken charge of the arrangements. She stood at the front, her posture stiff as a rod, greeting friends and neighbors with the grace her mother had taught her. Mark lingered by the door, checking his phone as if he couldn't wait to escape. Lily sat near the altar, clutching a handkerchief, her small frame trembling with every quiet sob. And I sat in the corner, as though I were an interloper at my own wife's farewell. The service ended, and I managed a few words to those who came to offer their condolences. Most of them mentioned the bakery. Margaret's apple tarts were legendary, one woman said, squeezing my hand. The bakery will always remind us of her. That was when the knot in my stomach tightened. I knew what I had to do, and I knew how much they'd hate me for it. Later that evening, the family gathered at the bakery, as we often did. The place hadn't changed in decades. The warm yellow walls, the antique cash register Margaret had insisted we keep, the shelves lined with jars of candy that no one bought anymore. Anna was at the counter, organizing receipts. Lily sat at one of the tables, sketching something in her notebook, while Mark leaned back in a chair, scrolling on his phone. I cleared my throat, the sound louder than I intended in the quiet room. 3 pairs of eyes turned toward me, and for a moment, I almost lost my nerve. But I had to do this. "I've made a decision," I said, my voice steady but quiet. "I'm selling the bakery." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Anna was the first to react. She dropped the stack of receipts, her face paling. "What are you talking about?" she asked sharply. "It's time," I said. "The bakery has served us well, but it's too much for me to handle on my own. I think it's the right time to let it go." "No," Anna said, her voice rising. "This isn't just your decision. This bakery is part of our family. It's part of Mom." Lily looked up from her notebook, her expression a mix of confusion and hurt. "You can't be serious, Dad. This place, it's everything to us." Mark, ever pragmatic, leaned forward. "How much are you selling it for?" he asked. Anna rounded on him. "Mark, this isn't about money." "It's a valid question," he shot back. "If he's going to sell, we should at least know what we're dealing with." "It's not up for discussion," I said firmly, though my hands trembled behind my back. "The decision's been made." The argument spilled into the night. Anna accused me of betraying Mom's memory, her voice breaking as she reminded me of how much the bakery had meant to her. "She poured her heart into this place, and now you want to throw it all away?" Lily said little but looked at me with wide, tear-filled eyes that cut deeper than words. Mark was more detached, though I could see the flicker of frustration in his face. "If you need money, just say so," he said. "There are other ways to handle this without selling the place." But they didn't understand. They couldn't. When they finally left, slamming doors and bitter words echoing in their wake, I sank into the nearest chair, feeling the weight of the secret I carried pressing down on my chest. After the bakery was quiet, I pulled the letter from my pocket, the letter that had changed everything. The handwriting was faint, but the words were etched into my memory. "George, I never wanted to disrupt your life, but you need to know about Maya. She's your daughter, and she needs you." Maya's mother had passed away a month ago, leaving the girl alone and sick. When I first read the letter, I didn't believe it, but a paternity test had erased all doubts. I'd met Maya just once, in the sterile white room of the hospital. She was pale and thin, her dark eyes searching mine as though looking for a piece of herself. "Are you really my dad?" she'd whispered. The guilt was unbearable. How could I have been so blind to the consequences of my actions all those years ago? And now, here she was, paying the price. The doctors had been clear. Without treatment, Maya wouldn't survive. The bakery had to go. There was no other way. As I sat alone in the quiet room, I thought of Margaret. What would she have done in my place? Would she have forgiven me? Would she have understood? I didn't know. All I knew was that I had to save Maya, even if it cost me the love of my other children. The knock at my front door was sharp and unrelenting, much like Anna's tone when she marched in without waiting for me to answer. Mark and Lily followed her, both looking uneasy. "We need to talk," Anna said, dropping her bag on the coffee table like it belonged there. "You're not selling the bakery, Dad, not without a fight." I sighed, running a hand through my thinning hair. I had known this was coming. "I told you, the decision's already made." "No, it's not," Anna snapped. "Mom wouldn't want this. She built that bakery with you. It's her legacy." Mark leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "If this is about money, there are other options. A loan, maybe. Or we could invest and expand." "It's not just about money," I said, louder than I intended. The sudden silence that followed was deafening. Lily sat down on the couch, her voice soft but trembling. "Then what is it about, Dad? Why are you doing this?" I looked at them, at their confusion, their anger, their hurt, and then I made the choice I'd been dreading. "There's something I need to tell you," I said, my voice cracking. "Something you're not gonna like." I told them everything. I started with the affair, a brief, stupid mistake from decades ago, when Margaret and I were going through a rough patch. I told them about the letter, the test, and finally about Maya. "She's 15, I said, my voice barely above a whisper, "and she's sick. She needs treatment, expensive treatment, or she won't survive." The room was silent, the weight of my confession settling like a storm cloud. Anna was the first to speak, her voice icy. "You had an affair, while Mom was alive." "It was a mistake," I said, my heart pounding, "one I've regretted every day since, but I didn't know about Maya until a few months ago." "That doesn't make it better," she snapped. "You betrayed Mom, and now you're asking us to give up everything she worked for... She stopped, shaking her head. "For a stranger?" Mark finished, his voice low and cutting. "Is that what you're saying, Dad?" "She's not a stranger," I said, struggling to keep my composure. "She's my daughter, your sister." "She's not our sister," Anna said, her voice trembling with rage. "Mom was our family, and you're throwing her memory away for some—" "Stop it!" Lily's voice cut through the tension, startling us all. Her face was pale, her hands clenched into fists. "Just stop." She turned to me, her voice quieter now. "Dad, why didn't you tell us sooner?" "I didn't know how," I admitted. "I didn't want to hurt you, but now I don't have a choice. I have to help her. I can't let her die." The days that followed were some of the loneliest of my life. Anna refused to speak to me, ignoring my calls and texts. I saw her at the bakery once, her face cold and distant, and it felt like a knife to the heart. Mark returned to his apartment in the city, but not before sending me an email detailing financial alternatives I could explore instead of selling the bakery. I didn't respond. Lily was the only one who stayed in touch. She visited me one evening, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. "I don't know what to think," she said, sitting across from me at the kitchen table. "I don't agree with Anna, but this is a lot to take in, Dad." "I know," I said softly. "I never wanted any of this to happen, but I can't ignore Maya. She didn't ask for this." "Neither did we," Lily said, her voice breaking. I reached across the table, taking her hand in mine. "I know, and I'm sorry, but I need you to understand. I love all of you. That hasn't changed. It never will." Lily surprised me a few days later by asking to meet Maya. "Are you sure?" I asked as we stood outside the hospital. She nodded, though she looked nervous. "I think I need to see her. Maybe it'll help me understand." Maya's room was small and sterile, but her face lit up when she saw me. "Dad," she said, her voice weak but cheerful. "This is Lily," I said, gesturing to my daughter. "She's your sister." Lily hesitated for a moment before stepping forward. "Hi," she said awkwardly. "Hi," Maya said, her smile shy but warm. They talked for a while, tentative, careful words that slowly grew more natural. Watching them, I felt a flicker of hope. Later that evening, Anna showed up at my door. "I heard you took Lily to meet her," she said, her tone accusatory. "She wanted to," I said evenly, "and I think it helped her." Anna shook her head, her eyes flashing with anger. "Do you really think this is going to fix everything? That we can just forget what you did?" "No," I said quietly. "I don't expect you to forget, or even forgive me, but I hope someday you'll understand why I'm doing this." She didn't respond, but she didn't leave either. For the first time in weeks, I felt a glimmer of possibility, of something shifting. A week passed, and the tension in my family seemed to simmer without boiling over. I decided it was time to bring everyone together. I sent a message to each of my children, asking them to come to the house for dinner. When Anna, Mark, and Lily arrived, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken words. They avoided eye contact with one another, but they came, a small victory in itself. As we sat around the dining table, I cleared my throat and began. I know things haven't been easy since I told you about Maya. I've made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but I can't undo them. All I can do is try to make things right, for her and for us. Anna folded her arms, her jaw tight. You can't just fix this, Dad. It's not that simple. I know, I said softly, and I'm not asking you to forgive me right now, but I am asking you to listen, to understand. I told them about the first time I met Maya, how scared she had been, how much she reminded me of their mother in her quiet strength. I told them about her illness, the medical bills, and how selling the bakery was the only way to give her a chance at life. I'm not asking you to accept her as your sister, I said, my voice trembling. But she's my daughter, and she needs me. I need to do this, even if it means losing your trust. I just hope, someday, you'll understand. The room was silent. Then Lily spoke, her voice small but firm. I've met her. She's kind, and she's scared just like we are. I think Mom would want us to help her. Anna looked at Lily, her expression softening just slightly. It's not that simple, she said, though her voice lacked its earlier edge. No, it's not, Mark said, surprising us all. He leaned forward, his tone thoughtful. But maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe we can figure out a way to keep the bakery and still help Maya. Mark's suggestion sparked a hesitant but hopeful conversation. He proposed expanding the bakery's online presence, introducing delivery services, and launching a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for Maya's treatment. It won't be easy, he admitted, but if we all pitch in, we can make it work. Anna was reluctant at first, but as Mark laid out the details, she began to soften. If we're going to do this, we need to do it right, she said. We can't cut corners, and we need to make sure Maya's taken care of, no matter what. Lily smiled faintly. Mom always said we were strongest when we worked together. For the first time in weeks, I felt a weight lift from my chest. A few days later, we visited Maya together. She was surprised but thrilled to meet Anna and Mark. Her shy smile and quiet warmth gradually melted their initial hesitance. Anna sat by her bedside, asking questions about her favorite books and hobbies, while Mark offered to bring her some of his old video games. Lily, ever the artist, sketched a quick portrait of Maya, earning a beaming smile. Seeing my children together with Maya, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It wasn't perfect, and it wasn't easy, but it was a start. The family threw themselves into the new plan. Anna took charge of organizing the crowdfunding campaign, crafting a heartfelt story about Maya and the bakery's legacy. Mark focused on marketing, reaching out to influencers and local businesses to spread the word. Lily designed new packaging and created artwork for the bakery's website and social media pages. I returned to the bakery with a renewed sense of purpose, working alongside my children to keep Margaret's dream alive while building a future for Maya. On New Year's Eve, we held a fundraiser at the bakery. The room was filled with friends, neighbors, and strangers who had come together to support us. Maya attended as well, her health still fragile but her spirits high. As midnight approached, I stood with my children, reflecting on how far we'd come. Mom would be proud of us, Lily said softly, her hand in mine. Anna nodded, her expression thoughtful. I still don't have all the answers, she admitted, but I'm trying, Dad, for her, for all of us. Mark raised his glass. To family, he said. To family, we echoed. As the clock struck midnight and the room filled with cheers, I felt a sense of hope I hadn't thought possible. We weren't perfect, and there were still challenges ahead. But we were together, and for the first time in a long while, I believed we could face whatever came next. The next few months tested all of us. The initial surge of enthusiasm for the crowdfunding campaign waned, and the bakery's new delivery system hit logistical snags. We worked late nights, fixing mistakes, brainstorming solutions, and sometimes snapping at one another. Anna was relentless in her perfectionism, often clashing with Mark's more laid-back approach. Lily, caught in the middle, tried to mediate but grew frustrated when her designs were overshadowed by operational issues. And then there was Maya. Her treatments were grueling, leaving her weak and pale, and I couldn't shake the fear of losing her. One night, after another long day at the bakery, I found Anna sitting at the kitchen table, her head in her hands. "I don't know if this is going to work, Dad," she said, her voice breaking. "What if we're just delaying the inevitable?" I sat beside her, resting a hand on her shoulder. "It's not about guarantees," I said. "It's about doing everything we can. For Maya, for your mother, for each other." She nodded slowly, wiping her tears. I don't want to fail. We won't," I said firmly. "Not as long as we stick together." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. One of Mark's influencer contacts posted about the bakery on social media, and the response was overwhelming. Orders flooded in, and donations to the crowdfunding campaign spiked. We worked around the clock to keep up with demand, leaning on friends and neighbors to help. Maya, too weak to join us, sent us encouraging messages and doodles from her hospital bed. For the first time, I saw Anna and Mark laughing together as they packed orders. Lily's designs were featured in a local magazine, and she glowed with pride. "It's working," Lily said one evening, her voice filled with wonder. "We're really doing it." As the business stabilized, Maya's health began to improve. The treatments were working, and her doctors were cautiously optimistic. The day she was discharged from the hospital, we threw a small celebration at the bakery. Maya's eyes lit up as she saw the decorations and the small crowd of supporters who had gathered to welcome her. "This is all for me?" she asked, her voice filled with awe. "For you," I said, hugging her tightly. "Because you're part of this family now. Always." The wounds between me and my children didn't heal overnight, but slowly we began to rebuild our trust. Anna started visiting more often, helping Maya with her schoolwork and teaching her how to bake. Mark took her to her first baseball game, and Lily painted a mural in her room, a vibrant blend of colors that reflected her newfound joy. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, Anna turned to me. "I still think about Mom every day," she said softly. "And I miss her, but I think she'd be proud of what we're doing." "She would," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "She always believed in us, even when we didn't believe in ourselves." The following year, on the anniversary of Margaret's passing, we gathered at the bakery for a small private ceremony. We shared stories, laughed, and cried, honoring her memory while looking forward to the future. Maya stood beside me, her cheeks flushed with health and her eyes shining with happiness. She held Anna's hand, and Anna didn't let go. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the bakery, I felt a deep sense of peace. We had faced our struggles, our mistakes, and our pain, but we had come out stronger on the other side. Margaret's legacy lived on, not just in the bakery, but in the love and resilience of the family she had built. "We're going to be okay," I said, more to myself than anyone else. And for the first time in a long while, I truly believed it.